Okay, here's a video of the Manta in its current state. We'll just do a walk around here. Engine bay, nothing to see here anymore. The inside, the interior is all out to make space. But here you can see, let's see if I can shrink up a little bit more. Even smaller. Yeah. So, there, have a light. There we go. So now there's the shock towers, and right up there. And there's the little radiator with the fan and the inverter, which is mounted on top of the motor, which is below. And then the orange thing is the connector and the control box that's going to sit on top of there, but it doesn't go in its current configuration because I need to cut that blue bar a little bit to make a room for it to sit on there. But the blue bar and all this rusty stuff, that's all the shock towers, which is an independent thing from the rest of the Opel. So that actually comes out. And then this stuff that's sticking forward is left over from the back seat support. And here's spindle area. The leaf subframe is there, and I'll raise this thing up so we can see a little better. There's shock tower and cut frame. But moving around the back here is there's the control box and the radiator. This is we're all in the trunk right now, and I still want it to be. Can I go more? No. Okay. This box comes out. So this is the control box, the VCU, vehicle control unit, and this is all the relays, high voltage relays for the main contactor and the auxiliary, various auxiliary things. I only pause there for a second. All right, continuing. You can see a little better here. There's shortened axle shafts. There's the leaf struts in the custom strut tower that's made to bolt into the now sliced up Opel. And it is actually removable from the subframe. So the subframe can come down, but the shock tower assembly can stay. So the struts and the strut tower can stay up there, and this whole assembly can come down. I'm going to do that shortly because I need to take this all out to put the rest of the control unit on. This is the expansion tank for the coolant. There's the coolant pump, which still needs to be mounted. You can see the radiator. This is going to get some quick disconnects. Volkswagen makes nice little quick disconnects for the heater system. This is where the subframe is narrowed. We took 9 inches out of here, which made it so the engine mounts were kind of hanging off the side here, so they need to get some more reinforcement. And there's some things that were notched. We got to notch a little more there, but this worked out really well because this goes across where the original frame was, and it's all bolt in now. See, there's a bolt that goes on the end of the frame that goes into a threaded nut on the other side of that. And on this side, there's something similar on the other side. So that's basically put the rigidity back that we lost by cutting through the frame. And the front of the Nissan mount here connects to the Opel frame there, and it's unboltable right there. So I'll pull those bolts out, and I can lower the whole thing down. And then maybe you can see from here the narrowing and how this sort of sits up here. There's a new cross piece that goes across, and I need to tie in here a little bit more right there. It still has tie rods, but there's just a chunk of the rack that's gutted from the original rack and pinion, just welded on, so that holds that in that spot. And so now we have four-wheel alignment, but it doesn't go anywhere except up and down. Okay, continuing with the video. The fake rack needs to be moved a little bit so that we have clearance for the foot on this side. But here you can see how the strut towers go in there. There, the strut towers mount into the Opel. They just make it underneath the rear deck. And they do interfere with where the original back seat was, but that's going to change anyway because the whole back seat's going to turn into like a battery area. That area needs to get filled in. All this is like super overkill for strength wise. This square tubing is really easy to work with, and all the welding needs to continue to connect everything to the original Opel body. So there's just a bunch of little tacks, so I'll just do a whole bunch more welding. Weld. Everything gets welded up, everything gets sandblasted, everything gets painted. But for now, it's all fitted. And you can see everything that was chopped out in order to make room for this leaf drive, which actually fits pretty well. And it's actually not that difficult to remove. Well, assuming you have a lift. It still could be done, but you need to put the car up on like 55-gallon drums, and you can use a hydraulic table, and so it would actually work.